I'm Anna,
I'm Jessica.
and this is the Paranoia Pair.
Okay, so growing up in the era we did, our generation was given full uncensored access to the early internet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For better or for worse.
Usually for worse.
Yes.
From getting to experience some of the very first kinds of instant messaging to being groomed on Omegle, we saw a lot. And then there was like also those. Oh, I know a lot of kids ended up seeing like those snuff films.
Oh, remember Pain Olympics?
Yeah, I luckily never seen those, but there was that one game, the IMBD or something, and I always liked games where you could make a character and dress them up, and you would do that, and then like your character would be out in like the little
Oh, you're talking
world.
about iMove or something.
Yeah, that's it. And
I think IMBD is that movie
movie thing,
website.
I use that a lot, but they were freaky on that game. Like I thought it was gonna be
Club
like,
Penguin.
I love Club Penguin. That was one of my favorites. Um, we seen like some of the first social media with MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, one of the fads I hated the most was chain letters. Nothing ruined little 9-year-old Jessica's day more than opening up my email from a friend to find a forward this email to 15 friends or die a terrible death tonight by insert scary made up monster here. Hated those. Ruined my life. I would sleep with my mom at 13 still because I was scared that the toilet lady was going to get me or something. Because there was one, if you didn't share it, you would hear this like haunting, like scream or something from your toilet.
Which
And
inspired us to make our
yeah.
toilet.
Um,
Our fake toilet chainmail.
yeah, that was terrifying. In fact, that exact one I made Tara because she sent it to me and I was so scared. I made her stay up all night long and talk to me on the phone because I was so mad and scared. And then I didn't even have enough people to forward these to. So
Oh,
like
you were like the only contact in my phone. And my mom. So my mom was getting lots of those.
she probably was gonna block your number.
It's fine. She was sending me chainmail too.
I hated them. And you would think like having nothing ever happen to me, like
Mhm.
I never died from these mysterious beings, that I wouldn't believe them, but still every single time it was very believable to me and it was terrifying. Something else
That doesn't surprise me coming from the person who was afraid of Slender Man.
that is actually covered a little bit in here.
Mm.
I bring up Slenderman was scary. Tall, lanky, a tuxedo? Who wears that in the woods? It's unnatural.
It's like that scene from SpongeBob where he's describing the Alaskan bullworm. He's tall,
He's slender.
he's pale,
He's a man.
and he's wearing a tuxedo.
I love the Alaskan bullworm. Something else that always got me, which like Slender Man, is the internet urban legends. Also Momo. I cannot look at Momo. Pictures of Momo
Mm-hmm.
scares the shit out of me. Slender Man though scared the shit out of me, like you were saying. But we're talking about one of the other first internet urban legends today, the Rake. Did you look anything up on it?
I did not, because you like don't look it up, and I was like, don't have to tell me twice.
Okay. So once upon a time, myths and urban legends were spread by word of mouth, and thanks to the internet, the stories could be spread much quicker and much easier. In 2005, on a forum called 4chan, which you had to explain to me what that was once because I
Mhm.
still don't really know.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not safe to go to.
It's icky.
Okay. So I did not try to go to it. But in 2005, on a forum called 4chan, an anonymous member started a thread with the post, "Hey B, let's make a new monster." With this, the thread took off, with many members contributing until one idea took hold, leading to another poster starting a new thread with this post, quote, "All right, this is for the people who like the 3 eyes, no apparent mouth, pale skin one. Here's what we've got so far. Humanoid, about 6 feet tall, when standing, but usually crouches and walks on all fours. It has very pale skin. The face is blank, as in no nose, no mouth. However, it has 3 solid green eyes, one in the middle of its forehead and the other 2 on either side of its head, towards the back. Usually seen in front yards and suburban areas, usually just watches the observer, but will stand up and attack if approached. When it attacks, a mouth opens up as if a hinged skull that opens at the chin. So like here, and then just like, and then it reveals many tiny and dull teeth. Ultimately, the appearance of the rake finally became what it is today: 2 hollow black eyes, gray skin, emaciated, humanoid, about 6 feet tall, no nose, and no visible mouth except when opened, with rows of little teeth. I'm gonna show you a picture.
Oh, great. It sounds lovely.
It's basically what you imagine haunting you at night.
I'm just picturing like a tall. Okay. Oh, I've seen that picture before. It reminds me of, I don't know if I actually remember seeing this or if it's just something my brain has made up. It reminds me of the X-Files,
That's what
like where it's like the sewer one, where it's like living in the sewer.
someone else, like multiple other things I had seen. I don't know what the X Files is, but multiple other things brought up the X Files, and I saw this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, multiple. This is terrifying.
Yeah, I was very young when my parents were watching that on the TV.
What's the X Files?
It's like, 2, like, FBI agents, and they're investigating, like, spooky things, like
See, for me, I thought.
alien-y
I guess for me, I thought the X Files
creatures.
was that game where you put your hand in boxes.
What?
There'd be contestants, and they'd have to like do weird things, like
That's X Factor.
close enough. I thought that I was like, what episode of what were they even doing in that episode?
I watched that. Okay, X-Files revolves around the FBI special agents Fox, Mulder, and Dana Scully who investigate eponymous X-Files, in quotes, unsolved cases involving paranormal phenomena.
I might watch this because that sounds interesting.
I remember the intro music very clearly. Is kind of, it's like ingrained in my brain. I was watching a lot of things I probably shouldn't have, thanks to my father.
So yeah, they're pretty scary looking. I don't like the idea of them at all. They're exactly what haunts. And they're one of the things that I imagine is waiting for me when I'm washing my hair.
Oh god.
That and The Grudge.
Dude, it took me so long to get over my fear of that sewer monster, by the way. Every time I went to the bathroom, I thought it was gonna get me.
The one we made up?
No.
Oh,
No.
oh, the one from X
Yeah,
Files.
the one from X-Files.
It was like you got
Yeah,
you got
we made
yourself
that up.
that. I mean, it's probably still gonna get me now as an adult. I'm
Mhm.
probably gonna think about that. I'm gonna go and watch the X Files and be haunted by it. Um. Okay, so the original story was on that. So sorry,
4chan.
4chan. From there, the story was posted on another blog called Something Awful. I tried finding that. I don't think it's really like used anymore. Apparently, the
Mhm.
guy who made it or owned it or someone died. I don't know. It was also the made its first appearance on the subreddit r paranormal in 2010 and has its own Tumblr page, which I did not like because like the very first thing was like basically like the description was basically like you'll die. Uh, so I was like, okay, back. Um,
I'm deleting this from my browser history.
I didn't go there. Um, so on the Something Awful blog, the user Brian Somerville on July 20th, 2006, which I don't know why, but Somerville already sounds like a haunting name. That sounds like something
Mhm.
spooky. Um, it's unknown if the text on this blog was specifically written for this or if it was taken from another source, but the story claims that strange events began occurring that was involving this creature and that soon led to a media blackout, and all proof of this creature disappeared shortly after. Quote, primarily focused in rural New York State, self proclaimed witnesses told stories of their encounters with a creature of unknown origin. Emotions ranged from extremely traumatic levels of fright and discomfort to an almost childlike sense of playfulness and curiosity. While their published versions are no longer on record, the memories remained powerful. Several of the involved parties began looking for answers that year. In early 2006, the collaboration had accumulated nearly 2 dozen documents dating between the 12th century and present day, spanning 4 continents. In almost all cases, the stories were identical. I've been in contact with a member of this group and was able to get some excerpts from the upcoming book. Unquote. So it claims that people have been seeing this since the 12th century, that it's been on multiple continents. Um, and some people like say that the creature itself doesn't bring harm to you, that it's more like a kind of like Mothman where it just shows up before times of
Mhm.
disaster. And then other things claim obviously that it's a scary monster and you die or go crazy. Um,
I'll take my chances with Mothman.
yeah, I'll take Mothman. I don't want this thing. One of the first documented encounters was in 1691 by a mariner. Is it marine? The marine people with a boat. You know, not the military.
Bodie McBoatface.
the boaters. In his log, he wrote, quote, "He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sudden sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again at the request of the Rake," unquote. That was one of the, because at the time there wasn't a name for it per se, but I think that's where like the name finally came from, was like these excerpts.
I want to know how they came up with a rake because
It's low to the ground. It typically is on all fours when it moves, and it makes like a little.
And it sounds like a rake.
I guess maybe like a rake on cement. I don't know. The next one is from 1880. An excerpt was translated from Spanish. Quote, "I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow, black. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand."
Oh, God.
I will not sleep.
He's just
voice.
a little nervous.
That's what they would remember me. I saw her pale, her wet hand. If I'm a monster, I'm so offended if that's what you remember me for. Oh, God. I'm glad you found that as funny as I did.
It's just, I seen the rake at my local Walmart.
I was he wet. Gross. We're gonna be haunted.
Dad, is that you?
After getting murdered. And their hands are so sweaty that they're literally considered wet.
He's just got social anxiety, guys.
We're one of the same. My hands too are always wet from sweat. So the rest of the text was unintelligible because it's assumed he went crazy. And then the final piece being a suicide note from 1964. Quote, "As I prepare to take my life, I feel it necessary to assuage any guilt or pain I have introduced through this act. It is not the fault of anyone other than him. For once I awoke and felt his presence, and once I awoke and saw his form. Once again I awoke and heard his voice, and looked into his eyes. I cannot sleep without fear of what I might next awake to experience. I cannot ever wake. Goodbye." Unquote. There's this one cryptid that is so ugly that it cries because everyone's like afraid of it. Yeah, it's apparently so ugly and it just cries. Same though.
I'd be friends with that squonk.
Yeah. Crying all the time? But it was a toddler that
He'd
got
fit
it
right
too.
into this friend group.
We too cry because we're uncomfortable with our appearance. In the same wooden box as this suicide note, there was also found 2 empty envelopes addressed to William and Rose, and a loose letter addressed to Linny. Quote, "Dearest Linny, I have prayed for you. He spoke your name." Unquote. That is so scary. I'd be pissed if that's all I got.
Hey, Linny. Sorry.
You next. Okay, and this one's kind of a long one. But these are like the 4 accounts of its origin, sort of. The origin story itself, I don't understand what it is. I don't understand if this next one is the origin story that started on 4chan, because it's so hard to find. And some things say that like that one's gone. I don't know. I even searched the R paranormal thread on Reddit, and I went to the search bar and I typed in the Rake, and like I could not find whatever's considered the original. I watched videos. So I don't know if this is what's considered the original story. It's from 2006. Quote, "3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for the 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my husband and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he got out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and he pulled his feet up from the end of the bed so quickly his knee almost knocked me out of the bed. Then he grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for half a second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, There was what appeared to be a naked man or a large hairless dog of some sort. Real quick, how do you mix those? It's either a naked man
Mhm.
or a hairless dog. Like that, those do not seem similar at all. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to what its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds, or probably closer to 5. It just seemed like a while, just looking at my husband. The creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway, leading to the kids' rooms. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on and I saw my daughter Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly injured and spoke only once more in her short life. She said, "He is the Rake." My husband drove his car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. They did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, and the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now refer to as the Rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believe to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages and never mentioned again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, only saying that they were told to leave by the Rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of a series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led to us to wonder if the Rake had visited any of us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the second week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. This took almost an hour every day. On the first day of the third week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't even listen to it long enough to begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone else listen to it yet. All I know is that I haven't heard it before and now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice on the recorder immediately brings me back to that moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head make me very upset. I have not seen the Rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know in fear that one night I'll wake up to see him staring at me. Unquote. The Rake itself is said to be made up, but there are many who believe that they've seen this creature. So the question remains, does the Rake exist or is it something else? I personally hope it doesn't exist because I looked at a lot of pictures and now I'm
Yeah.
scared. Because of the black hollowed eyes and the gray skin, some think the sightings could be confused with the Greys. Do you know what the Greys are?
I do not. Is that like the aliens?
Yeah, the aliens. And then there's like 2 kinds of Greys. There's the tall Greys
And the short ones.
and the short ones. The tall ones can be around 7 to 9 feet tall, and the shorter ones can range from 3 to 6 feet tall. So that kind of goes with because the Rake is supposed to be about 6 feet tall. From those who have said they've seen it. And if you go to Reddit, of course, there's a whole lot of stories of people saying they actually saw the Rake, and then people are like, "Hey, no, you stupid! It's not even real."
Mhm.
Um, some also think the Rake sightings could be Wendigos. Some legends say that the Wendigo is an emaciated figure with ashen skin, while others say it's a giant being that grows the more it consumes flesh, and it's typically associated with a foul smell of rotting flesh. And it has no lips because it chewed them off because it's hungry. Um, so if you keep chewing your lips, you're gonna turn out like the Wendigo.
I fear there is no stopping me.
And also, the Wendigos are typically known to be like active in the winter months. And then the final one are the pale crawlers, and this one gives me the heebiest of jeebies. And they're described as humanoid beings about 5 to 7 feet. They're pale and sometimes noted translucent skin, which I don't know which is worse. Their proportions
Probably
are
translucent skin. I don't wanna see all the organs.
yeah, it'd be like those little shrimp that you always got stuck and you could, like,
Mhm.
see their, like, intestinal tract and, like, their
Yeah.
poop and stuff. Their proportions are also long and unnatural, and I hate that. I don't know why, but that's creepy. Despite their lanky, strange appearance, they're reported to be very fast on all fours, which is nightmare
Hate
fuel.
that. Just something, like, running at you full speed on all fours.
Don't know why it's so much scarier than something running at you at twos. And it can also fit into small spaces easily.
I thought you were gonna They also wear a size small.
I personally think if they're for any of the encounters of people seeing them, I personally think it would be that one. It seems most fitting
Mhm.
because it's terrifying. The rake is a made up cryptid, but I kind of firmly believe it's a real thing. There's a lot of scary Reddit stories. Okay, so here's one an experience. I think I saw the rake as a child. I was like 8 or 9, can't remember. I lived next to the forest, and as a child, I usually went to play in my garden until my mom came back home during the summer. That time, I was playing outside as usual when I hear my dog barking. I went to check since where I live there are foxes, and as a child, wanted to see one. When I went to check, I saw in an opening between the woods something hella weird. Something so pale it was almost paper white, so skinny I could see the bones, walking in all fours pretty fast. I couldn't see the torso, and above since it was already hidden, but it looked kind of human and also very, very tall. I wasn't very close, yet I seemed to be taller than me. And what felt weirder is that the posture was kind of off. It was oddly similar to if you put yourself on all fours without letting your knees touch the ground, you'd get the same pose. I've never seen it again, and I've assumed that it was the rake since it's the only cryptid I knew that looked like the thing I saw. I've never seen that thing again, and sometimes I'm afraid that when dogs bark at night, it's because of that. I wanted to share this since whenever I talk about it, it gets dismissed, and I hope it won't happen again. I'd never go outside again or the woods. There's actually some interesting comments. Because have you seen The Descent?
Yeah, that's the one where, like, all those creature thingies get, like, are in the cave, right?
Yeah, I feel like that was gonna be like one of the best examples kind of like what they would look like.
Yes, I have. I do remember seeing this as a teenager.
And then here's one that is Rake Wendigo Crawler Help Me. I saw the rake or something that I call the rake. I can't tell you what it was. I was driving late at night in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. I live 30 miles south of Alamosa, Colorado. I was driving on a back road with my buddy, taking him home near my house. It was about 12 a.m. Out of nowhere, this thing appeared in the headlights in the middle of the road. It was crouching over some roadkill. It was humanoid. It was pale. It looked like it had no ears. It looked like a Wendigo from Until Dawn. Looked like it was 7 feet tall, abnormally long arms, no ears, no nose, and some nasty teeth. It wasn't skinny, but its skin was tight with ribs visible, and like long claws on the end of its hands. I was barely able to dodge it with my truck as I was driving considerably fast. As I swerved around it, it seemed like time slowed down, and it looked up from the roadkill it was eating and stared at me as I passed. Its eyes were yellow. I immediately brake and yell at my friend, "What the fuck? Did you see that?" His eyes were wide with fear and he nods at me. I throw the truck in reverse, but when I approached the roadkill, it was gone. Why the fuck would you go back for it?
We're not going
Like,
back.
we're speeding up. Um,
We're never going on that road again.
literally backing up. If I was in a car with somebody and like we seen something scary on the side of the road at night and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna back up to go look at it," I would never talk to that person again. Like, that is the most terrifying thing you can do. His friend claims to have seen it. So I know I'm not crazy. When I was a kid, I read a lot of stories about the rake. I know the rake isn't real, so maybe they invented a creature that already existed. Maybe it's a cave creature like in The Descent. If you have any questions, please ask. I've been doing a lot of research. I want to find out what this is. I've been obsessed with him. I need answers. I won't stop looking for him. How the turns have tabled. At first, people were being haunted by the rake, and now the rake is being haunted by this guy. He won't stop. Anyways, uh, I don't know. There's a lot of posts on the Reddit forums asking about the plausibility of the rake, many users being solid in it being a fake entity. But given the craze of Slender Man and the two young girls that actually attempted to kill one of their friends for him,
Oh, those girls.
yeah,
They're getting
the one
released.
got released in 2021, it
Yeah, the
said.
other one I think is, maybe getting released soon.
I think she's getting released into a like a home.
Mhm.
but still like way too. And thank God the other little girl survived.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you wonder, like, is the rake as real as we make it to be? The rake can be as real as we make it to be. Done, done,
Dun, dun.
done. I like that cryptid. It's a scary thing. Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Paranoia Pair Pod. And we will see you next Friday.
Stay spooky.
Bye.
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 Bye.